Hey, how's it going? When we recorded the last episode of the Tenkara Angler Level Line podcast, it was episode 21, Exploring Tenkara Lines. It was a pretty long podcast. We usually keep ours to about an hour, maybe a little bit less. This went on for, hour and a half. It was a long episode. But we did have some extra content that we recorded about storing your Tenkara lines, both while you're moving from spot to spot on stream and then after you're done fishing for the day, that we ended up editing out. But I thought it was pretty good, so I'm going to present just a little short video today of some bonus footage. We'll call it episode 21.5 or something like that, about exploring Tenkara line storage. Hope you enjoy it.
One last thing I did want to add on, guys, is line management on the stream, off the stream. So if you got these lines, you're going to end up needing spools of some kind. So DRAGOntail makes these spools to put your cut up lines on so you can store them when you're not fishing. You can get foam spools cheap. I've got like thousands of these from when I ran Three Rivers Tenkara. So I've got them on. I've got tons of those. So you can get these kinds of spools. These are probably the most common ones now. The other thing that DRAGOntail has, I don't have an example, but they're super cool. I made some of my own. They've got these like line cards, which are really slim. So I made these myself out of like folders. I designed them up in a vector design program, and then had my wife's put them on her Cricut machine and cut them out. So you can make them really thin, and you can put one fly on each side. If anybody's interested, I could provide the if you have a Cricut machine or your wife does, and you want the file, I can give you the file, and you can make these yourself if you want, or you can get similar ones from DRAGOntail to keep your lines on. And then I don't see anyone talking about these, but these are super cool way to store your lines too. It's an old-fashioned leader wallet if you're from Western fly fishing, and it just has these little pockets in it, so you can put that in your bag and put a bunch of different lines in there. It's a really convenient way, and I haven't seen anyone. I wish someone would make a Tenkara one that was a little. This one's kind of bulky. You could make it a little less bulky, but these are really convenient. The other thing is, this is the over-under, that I was thinking about, Mike, is the easy keepers. So like they kind of come in and out of fashion, but they're designed originally for rods that don't have like a hook keeper. And I think it was Jason Class that first did it, put two of them on a Tenkara rod to use it for line management, like while you're fishing. The disadvantage is you get these kinks in either end. They straighten out pretty nicely, but the advantage is you can wrap your whole line up pretty quickly on one of those, as opposed to trying to wind it onto one of these.
Yeah, totally. If you're using a floating line or a furled line, that's a really good option, because if you do use a level line, like Anthony says, you'll kind of get the kinks in there if you wrap it on tight. But it's a great option, especially going from place to place on the stream.
Yeah. So what do you guys? So this is a question I have for you. I'm like Matt. I wrap. This isn't a great example because of wooden handle, but I wrap my line around, and I stick my hook in the grip, and that's how I store it when I'm walking around. I don't take it off and put it on a spool. What do you do, Mike? If you're fishing, you're going up the stream, it's this rhododendron choke thing, you're putting your rod down, and what do you do with your line?
Yeah, so if I'm going from place to place, I'll wrap it around my handle. If I'm storing it, I'll put it on a spool. I'll take it off and put it on a spool. That's usually how I handle lines. A lot of the rods I use are actually foam gripped rods. Mm-hmm. And if you wrap a level line, which I use, around a foam grip, it might permanently leave those indents in it, right. Especially if the grip's wet when you store it. I've had that happen to a rod before, so I generally take them off when I'm done fishing.
I think what happens, I think that the line expands a little bit when it's wet. Maybe you could soak some water up, and so when you wind it on there and it dries out, I don't know the physics of it or the science of it, but I've definitely seen that happen. I've had that happen too. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm really sold on I love the DRAGOntail snap-on line winders. It's all one piece. And Brent Auger said, yeah, he got that. It's like he adopted some Japanese design. It really works well for me. All of my rods have those. And what I do if I'm just going a short way on the stream, I just figure eight the line around my fingers, because that I can do really quickly without even looking. And I'm still looking up where's the next hole or the next riffle. And it's key. Do it a figure eight. If you just do it like this, it tends to tangle more easily. But then if I'm going a little farther, I just put it on that snap-on line winder, and that's where the line stays. It stays in my rod. And I don't do it too tight. I do it loosely is all I need. Yeah, there's a little bit of caking, like you said, just 2 seconds when I'm getting rid of the cast. So I'm really sold on those things. I have tried the other ones with 2 separate pieces. For me, they just didn't work as well. So.
I just can't think of a reason to do anything other than wind the line around the naturally already provided for me spool that I can't lose, destroy, or otherwise cause mayhem with.
I will say,
but that's me. Like I've gotten to where I can wind that thing. I can break it down in 15, 20 seconds, and I can set it up in 15, 20 seconds. So
I will say, like,
to me, it's not that big of a deal.
I run into problems with. I do that too, Matt, all the time. But like, you do have to be careful taking it off, because if those coils come off over themselves, it can.
You do, and part of the magic with that is winding it up, kind of in a. I don't want to say correct manner, but there's I've had that happen to me a lot. And it still does every once in a while. I'd say that's probably the main drawback for this style of line management. But it doesn't happen enough. And like I said, if you're kind of careful about where you start and finish the wrap, most times 9 times out of 10 you're going to be okay. That 10th time you might be swearing at me a little bit.
It usually happens when I'm trying to. If I meet someone who doesn't know about Tenkara along the stream, and I go to take that off to show them. That's when it happens.
Look how easy this is.
That's when someone's watching, of course.
They're like, why don't you have a reel?
You know what they make that would keep that nice and neat? It's called a reel.
Exactly.